All right, all right. We have a special guest in today on Grit Won't Quit. We have Chrissy Rice, the founder of the Kindness Café. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
The Kindness Café is it's got a great name. Two, I'm so happy that Taylor from our team found you on Instagram to reach out to you about getting on Grit Won't Quit. What you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, from reading your application to having a couple of minutes, talking to you on the phone last week, I think you're doing great things. I'm super excited for you, and I actually can't wait to tell my wife that we're going down to the Kindness Cafe.
Good.
And now that we're open 3 days, it's even better. So let's kind of go into it. So how did you get involved with the Kindness Cafe? Like, this is a passion. I could see it in your face when you walked in the door this morning. Like, you are into this. So to kind of go tell
a little bit of
how it all started.
The background.
Yeah.
It actually has totally grown organically.
We'll get into that. So let's just kind of start. How did you want to do this? What were you doing prior? Where do you see this going? And let's just kind of roll into it.
So I am just a recently retired ESL teacher, which is an English as a second language teacher from Manasquan High School.
Shout out to Manasquan, right down the road. We're in Belmont today, but everyone knows our other offices in Manasquan, so shout out to the Manasquan community. Great place.
But going back a couple of years, I saw a piece on the Today Show where they went down to Island Beach State Park, not Island Beach State Park, Long Beach Island, to a town called Beach Haven. Mm-hmm. And there were two public school teachers, and they started a little program where they employed young adults with developmental disabilities. Once the Today Show got a hold of it, it really blew their business out of the water, brought them a lot of recognition, a lot of donations to run their nonprofit. And I said to myself, I think I can do something very similar with my ESL students. Fast forward a couple of years to 2022, there was really not opportunity at the high school to work with my ESL students in the capacity of running a coffee shop. So I reached out to my coworkers and friends that work with developmentally disabled students at the high school, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to give them some skills, life skills, and interaction with the local community for their students who ranged in ages 18 to 21. Mm-hmm. So that is kind of the beginning of the formation of the Kindness Cafe. And from there, we started the business in the fall of 2022, mm-hmm. and we operated 1 day a week, Mondays, out of the Main Street Kitchen on downtown Manasquan, which is at 140 Main Street.
140 Main Street.
Right next to, sharing the same door as the ice cream shop. That's really a good landmark for us. Yes, we operate, but we personally, the Kindness Cafe does operate out of the Main Street Kitchen, which mm-hmm. is at 140 Main Street. And we were given the opportunity to use the space at the Main Street Kitchen, and the students from the high school came in to operate the cafe. And at the cafe, we brewed coffee and tea, and we served outsourced baked goods and our own spectacular croissants that we bake in-house.
Wow, that's great. And so now people are starting to just catch on because they see you open, they're following you on Instagram, and yes. You're starting to build a little community. And the Manasquan community is such a loyal group of people. So, once they see something they like, they stick with it.
The community has been spectacular. Just from our little posts on Facebook and Instagram, mm-hmm. we have somebody, one of the board members on the Kindness Cafe, who happens to be a friend of mine. She does all of our posting. It's just a hobby of hers. It's mm-hmm. not her business, sure. But she's really good at it. She's really creative. We've actually had great support from some of my former coworkers at Manasquan High mm-hmm. School. The social media class actually comes in, and they've actually created some posts for us as part of their class. Totally distinct. I have to make it clear. It's totally distinct. The Kindness Cafe is distinct from Manasquan High School employees. Mm-hmm. It isn't. There's no relation to Manasquan High School. It's just that this is where our foundation and all our employees and help has come from.
That's great.
So when the high school classes come to visit the cafe, it's spectacular because our students on that Monday are Manasquan High School students, and their peers are coming in so that they can serve their peers. And there's these very natural interactions that are happening between neurotypical high school students and developmentally disabled high school students. And some of the conversations are just so organic and like the neurotypical kids draw out the conversation from the kids that might have a little bit of difficulty interacting with the typical crowd.
That's very cool.
And so it's just been great. And just getting back to the Manasquan community, just so supportive. To the point where we, saw the need. So we operated 1 day a week from September 22 all the way through September 23. 1 day a week, Mondays. This year, September 23 to September 24, we are going to be operating, we have been operating and will continue to operate 3 days a week.
That's great. So you 3X'd it already.
Right.
And you have different organizations coming in now, and you have different staffing. And
yes.
Tell us more.
Would you like to know a little bit about that? Okay, so our Sunday crew, those are our employees. They're employed by the Kindness Café. We had a hiring night for them specifically, and from the hiring night, we drew a pool of about 10 employees that actually work the Sunday cafe. And then our Monday and Wednesday cafes are staffed by what I call our student employees. They're actually in a public school setting, learning life skills up until the age of 21. So they're using the cafe, they're working the cafe to learn their life skills and ways to interact and maybe hold down a job in some other capacity once they graduate from the public school program at 21.
What a great service you're offering to help them get that skill set. Like there's some grit in that. Like
there is total grit in
like
that.
When you think about that, you have a very hard job. Like you have 3 different groups. You're retired now from Manasquan teaching, but you've now like added this whole dynamic too.
And it's so wonderful. I mean, like, I don't know if I want to be a friend of myself because because I really don't quit and I don't like to take no for an answer. And sometimes the people on the current board who really are guiding me with the monies and the things that we can do, are kind of like pulling me back a little bit.
Reining you in a little bit.
Reining me in. They're like, whoa, because at one point, like when we were only operating 1 day a week, I wanted to jump to 5 days a week, and they're like,
no,
cannot handle this.
Hard no.
They were like, Chrissy, roll it back,
So you're really an entrepreneur at heart then. Like an entrepreneur is one that just never stops. Like, every time, every entrepreneur
I never really
that
considered
that
myself
comes
an
in,
entrepreneur.
The entrepreneurs are. I always say this: they're wired differently, myself included.
Yeah.
I'm in the wired differently category. So, but you sound like you're in this category. You've now found this category too. So maybe after a career as a teacher, you realize that this is your passion.
I hope so. I mean, I definitely love what I'm doing with this, and I just love the support. And I have to give a shout out to the former Belmar First Aid Squad, because they were the ones that allowed us to jump from 1 day to 3 days a week to pay our rent, to the Main Street
great.
Kitchen. So
we're right here in Belmar, so shout out to the First Aid Squad. That's so great.
It was the former First Aid Squad.
Oh,
so,
the former.
They, once the sale of the Belmar First Aid Squad building, when the Belmar First Aid went to public, not just volunteers, the trustees, there were about 10 people that had a set amount of money that they, once the building was sold and the property was sold, that they had been involved with the first aid for a really long time, and they were able to decide, as long as it was going back into the community in some way, shape, or form, who they could give the donations to.
And you're a registered 501c3, correct?
Yes, we are.
Perfect.
Yes, we are.
So you can take donations.
Yes.
And you really are really run on
Yes,
a
we
lot
are.
of donations.
Because as the money people on the board tell me, we are in the red all the time.
So part
But-
of your job is constantly fundraising to get this expanded.
Yes,
So,
so-
you're hustling. You're like an entrepreneur who's starting out. There's no revenue in the door. That you're pushing and pull.
We
so
are.
to get new people to understand the value of what you're doing. I think it's awesome what you're doing.
Thanks. It's really been great. I mean, there really are so many people to thank along the way, and our next phase is to. So we've been all this year and through 2024, September 2024, we will be operating on the 3-day-a-week schedule. But our next phase of growth is to operate 5 days a week.
You plan to get to 7?
In my time, no.
No. Okay.
I have to say-
wow. She said no to something. Here.
I have to say no because I have to do things with my husband.
Yep.
I can't
Yep.
he's still working, but
So you haven't
we're
pushed
fine.
him into retirement because
No,
you want him
he'll ne-
still working. So
He'll never retire. He can do what he does. He's an architect and he can do what he does, and he loves it.
Perfect.
So
all right. So now they're operating 3 days a week. On Sunday you have a paid crew in there, and now
Yes.
I heard that there's a great assistant manager already in that position. So tell me a
Yes.
little about how that kind of came to be.
her name is Annie Long.
Annie, shout out Annie.
And she's an amazing person. She's an extraordinary human. She has autism, and she'll be the first one to tell you that she has autism when you walk in the door. She knows all about what she's capable of and not capable of. So she was steadfast right from the beginning. We hired her as one of our employees, and she had expressed to us right off the bat that she wanted to take a more serious position in training other employees at the cafe.
That's
And-
great.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that Annie knows how to work the cash register, and I do not. So Annie is teaching everybody. We have Clover, which is great.
Sure, nice system to
It's
use.
a great system, and she has actually trained our other Sunday employees how to work the cash register.
That's great.
And
She greets all the people when they walk in.
she greets all the people. She, there's different jobs that the employees stay at throughout the course of their time at the cafe, and she just kind of oversees to make sure everybody's doing their job at their position at that point in time. If anybody's having any trouble, if there's, somebody might need a break, she'll fill in on that position.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked her via text if she would consider, becoming an assistant manager at the cafe, and her response back right away without hesitation was, "I'm on it."
I love it.
I'm on it. I would love to do that. So.
I think that it's great what you're doing with the developmentally, getting them part of society, getting them kind of working in the workforce, and working in the service business is not an easy job for anybody.
It's not an
And
easy job.
it takes some toughness because everybody's a food critic too.
Everybody's a food critic.
Everybody's a coffee critic.
Everybody's a coffee critic, so we're really working on our products. We are, with some of our donation money, we are actually installing brewers because we've been brewing coffee the old-fashioned way in
Really?
the brewers that you have to set up every morning. Like
Oh,
I call them
wow.
like the grandma's brewers.
Yeah,
Like if
I
you
know
were
it. Yeah, like
at
when-
a
when
buffet
you're at
or
the
something,
you
you had a communion party or something.
Sure.
So we are using Quorum Coffee.
Quorum and Brick. Shout out to Quorum Coffee and Brick.
And we are in talks right now to have brewers installed.
That'll make life a lot easier.
And
right?
we'll actually, yes, and it also gives more skill to our employees
Mm-hmm.
because our volunteers, our adult volunteers, myself included, will go in and prepare the coffee and then they serve the coffee, So we're actually there's going to be a lot more skill involved because we're also going to be getting a grinder that's attached to the brewers that hopefully we'll be getting from Quorum.
That's awesome. Now, do you have plans in the future maybe to get your own coffee line? So when people are leaving the Kindness Cafe, they can buy coffee for when they're making it on the days you're not open, because the days you're open, they should be coming down to you. But for the or for the out-of-town guests, especially with Manasquan, you have a lot of people that come between Memorial Day and Labor Day that live in Bergen County or Essex County or one of the boroughs in New York. So I think that there's an opportunity for you to have an additional revenue model there.
We actually have talked about that.
Oh, great.
We do move a little bit slower because we are a nonprofit and we have to be careful where we're getting our funding from and how we're spending our funding. I mean, so it is definitely, we're in the works. We're talking about that, naming it like Kindness Café or something.
That'd be great. Also,
A cup of kindness. I don't know. We've thrown it around. We're just not there yet for that.
I think when you get that, that's a great gift too. Like I have to buy gifts every year for my vendors and my suppliers and friends of the Wingman business. Like I think that'd be great to give them.
It would be a great.
If you get your own coffee line, I want to be the first one to buy a gift from you.
I would love that. Speaking
hold me to it.
Okay, I will. And speaking of gifts, we do have great merchandise that we sell down at the cafe. We sell baseball hats with our cute little logo, and we have some sweatshirts, and our hashtag is Brewing Kindness Daily.
That's great.
And so, if we do come around to getting our own coffee, we will definitely put that on the shelves in the cafe.
Add that to it. Now, are you selling your hats and your sweatshirts online yet or not yet?
I think in our initial social media posts, I think we had a link to purchase it, but our website's also under redevelopment too, because people still, after almost 2 years in business now, people say, where are you located? When are you open? I can't find you on social media. I can't find you. I can't find links. I can't find your website. So I feel like...
I'm going to give you a little heads up here. I would call Taylor, who reached out to you originally.
Yeah.
She runs all the social media and digital work at Wingman Planning.
Okay.
Ask her for a little help.
Okay.
And tell her you don't want a bill.
Well, that's very generous.
And if she questions about the bill, tell her Andrew said it was okay.
You got it.
I want to be able to help you on your Google business and on your social to make sure that people can find you. Because again, if they don't know where downtown Manasquan is and the numbers, I could see it being tricky. And again, you're in someone else's business, so have Taylor.
Okay.
Reach
I
out
will
to
definitely
Taylor
reach out to
and
her.
Have her help you. And listen, tell her it's on Grit Won't Quit today.
Okay, great.
Because I want more people to see you. I mean, I know exactly where you are. I can direct people there, but some more people are using the internet than calling me.
Social media is
social media and the internet is where it is. And especially with the apps, like even on the phone, like getting the driving directions and stuff like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you that people can find you. Okay. So I think that's killer. I 100% want Taylor to help you with that. And that would be great for you.
I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And again, that's one less hustle you gotta figure out. And I want you to find more business leaders in town that want to help you because you have such a great downtown. And you have such great business owners. You got Joe Leone. You got Lou from from Blend on Main. You have Jerry from the Committed Pig. They've all been podcast guests. We had a young entrepreneur from Good Karma. Who's around the corner. She's across from Squan Tavern. But Kelly's awesome. So you have just a great local businesses in your area. Like they're there. I think that they're there to be there to help you.
It's a great town. That's why I really want to continue to stay in Manasquan as the business grows.
And now the goal is to get to 5 days?
The goal is to get to 5 days. We're working on that currently.
When do you think that'll be? The next school year?
Tentative timeline is to open up July 1st.
5 days.
5 days.
That's great.
We have a hiring night set, which has just gone out on our own social media, Instagram and Facebook, for April 25th, where we're hiring a new slew of employees to train. We're hoping to train them in our existing space and days prior to July, the weekend of July.
So let me also
1st.
tell you, let's also have Taylor share your posts for your hiring on our social medias so that it gets that much more attention. So hopefully, you get
Okay,
we can
great.
help, whatever we could do to help you here on this one.
I love it. Thank
know,
you. Taylor, thank you for reaching out to me. I haven't met you yet, but
I wish we had Taylor and Taylor. You should have been here today. But reach out to Chrissy and get her help on her social media, and also share some posts to help get the awareness out there. I think this is so cool what you're doing. I really, I'm so excited for you to expand.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is
you.
just like great stuff, and I love that it's right in where we work. You know,
Yes.
I'm a big supporter of helping in the communities where we work and live. I've said this for 7 or 8 years now. I run a toy drive. I run a food drive. I'm in the process. Our company's in the process of starting our own foundation, and we don't want to help the end. We're not going to deal directly with the end user. We're going to deal with people, organizations like yourself, who work with the end user. Our goal is to be almost like, you know, in our Wingman world, we're B2B. We don't serve the consumer. We deal with business owners. And in the nonprofit world, because that's where our skill set lies, is we're going to deal with the nonprofit executive directors and boards, not deal with the end user. So once the Wingman Foundation is up on board, our executive director is my wife, Cindy. I'll have her get in touch with you so that you can be on our giving list and stuff like that.
Okay, great. That's fabulous.
I think that'll
Thank
be
you.
another avenue to kind of expand on.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, so now we're going to go to 5 days,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of.
And we'll see where it goes from there. I mean, again, it's been a slow growing organic.
But a slow organic growth is a good growth.
And it is. And it's been manageable for everybody that has had other jobs along the way.
Sure.
Everybody's just giving a little bit of themselves, what they can give. And now that I'm retired and have a little bit more time on my hand, I might become their albatross. I don't know if they're going to want to deal with me anymore because I have a little bit more time to do some things. But I want to give a shout out to my board, my friends that were handpicked, that have specialties in special education and finance and the coffee business, that are really, keeping me on kilter with, moving to 5 days and running this business.
It's now be a business. Like when you first start a nonprofit, it's for.
It was like a lemonade stand when we first started.
But as you grow it turns into, and again, it's just like entrepreneurism. When you're a one-man band, you're out there doing the work. If you're in roofing, you're out there swinging the hammer. But as you grow your team, then it becomes more of a. You have to get organized. You have to there's planning involved. So it's a very similar world. That you started a lemonade stand, and now you have a cafe that's running 5 days a week. That's going to be running 5 days a week. You're talking about online merch down the road, and you're talking about your own coffee label brand. I think this is so great what you're doing, and you're helping people that maybe didn't have another spot to go, or it wasn't.
Well, there with this group, especially, I'll say 18 to 30. After they are done with public education, and if they're not enrolled in a private program, there's not a lot for them. Yeah. And they have so much to offer. Yeah. They really do. Just a different perspective for the neurotypical person, to see, how much harder it is for them. And it kind of like sets you straight that if this person with what they're capable of can do this, I can do things. It's a real feel good. There's a real good chemistry. And when people come in to visit, we've had like Girl Scout and Brownie troops come in for little tours. And the leaders that come in with them, I just give a little talk. I mean, there's really not a ton to show them, but they interact with the employees. Sure. And every single time someone comes in, they say, it makes me feel so good. Like there's a good energy here. And like one Girl Scout leader mother said to me, she said, I actually have a tear in my eye about what's happening here. And
you're doing great
people spread the word, but social media component would be much more helpful.
I also, so what are the hours of the cafe?
Okay, so we are basically from 9 to 11.
9 to 11.
9 to 11 on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. There is a little bit of flexibility for the next 4 months, 5 months. Our Sundays we open up a little earlier and we stay open a little later. But in essence, we're basically open 9 to 11 Sunday,
Now,
Monday, and Wednesday.
On wait, let me think. I'm thinking, how many people can be seated?
So we've rearranged the cafe, and we can seat inside about 10 people. We have 3 or 4 little tables.
Sure.
Then in the spring and warmer months, in front of Main Street Kitchen, the owner of Main Street Kitchen sets out 2 tables,
Nice.
2 or 3 cafe tables, and then around the corner, there's a shared space of the ice cream shop
Yep,
where those
Where
picnic
those
tables are
yeah,
there.
the picnic
Beautiful picnic tables in a little patio area, and that's a great spot.
That is a great spot, yeah.
So I would assume once the weather upticks a little bit,
One of these days it's going to break.
We'll get out there.
Perfect. All right, cool. So this has been an inspiration to me. I can't wait to come. I'm excited. I think I'm going to find a couple employees on a Monday and Wednesday too, and take them on a field trip too, so they could see this in action.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is good. So as we wrap up today, I just want to let people know. Let's tell them your social medias and how to find you, so that we all know now it's 140 Main Street next to Main Scoop Ice Cream in the Main Street Cafe. Main Street Kitchen.
We operate out of the Main Street Kitchen, which is next to, it's called I call it Main Scoop, the ice cream shop in town.
Yeah.
There's only one ice cream shop in town. So it's right there on Main Street, right in the center of town.
What's that? That cross street over there?
That is Parker Avenue.
So it's on right next to Parker Avenue is the ice cream store, and next to that is the Main Street Kitchen, and then on the other side of the corner is Max Devereaux.
Yes.
So
correct.
if you're familiar with downtown Manasquan, that should be good enough direction to get you there.
Come in and visit us. We can't wait to see
All right,
you guys.
and let them know your social media handles.
Okay, our social media handles are Facebook and Instagram. I believe Kindness Café on Main is...
Awesome. So I'm excited to come and visit myself. This was great. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
And then Taylor, thanks for finding Chrissy,
Taylor.
because this was a great interview.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.